Good morning, Southwest students. Today we're going to look at day 27 AMI activities for both English and social studies. So just to remind you, you are going to be completing your work in your social studies Google Classroom. So if you are going to complete this assignment today, please go to your social studies Google Classroom and you will see this assignment. Okay. So you are going to continue working on your 2020 pandemic journal. Your reading requirement is to see the chunked articles at the bottom of this packet. Read section 8 of article 2. So we're going to scroll down, and I already have it bookmarked here so we can go quickly. It's on page 13 of the packet or page 14 of your Google Doc. And what is highlighted is what we're going to read today. So please read with me as I read it to you. Flu facts. Influenza, also called the flu, is a virus that attacks the respiratory system. The virus is highly contagious. When an infected person coughs, sneezes, or talks, respiratory droplets are generated and transmitted into the air and can then be inhaled by anyone nearby. Additionally, a person who touches something with a virus on it and then touches his or her mouth, eyes, or nose can become infected. During the last 3 decades, between 3,000 and 49,000 people have died annually because of the flu, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, which is the CDC. Some people, such as young children, people over age 65, and pregnant women face a higher risk of getting sick. Also vulnerable are people with certain medical conditions, such as asthma, diabetes, or heart disease. A flu pandemic, such as the one in 1918, occurs when an especially intense new influenza strain, for which there's little or no immunity, appears and spreads quickly from person to person around the globe. This sounds kind of familiar to what's going on right now. And then you have the 2 questions out to the side. Why is the flu so contagious? So your answer might look like the flu is so contagious because blank. And then what is pneumonia and why does it kill some people? Pneumonia is blank and it kills some people because blank. All right, let's scroll back up to our activities for today. So your first question says, what would you have done differently to prepare for social distancing had you known the coronavirus was going to affect our society so drastically? And then your answer might look like this. Had I known about social distancing ahead of time, I would have blank. And then after reading the chunk of the article, consider the following questions. And I read these questions, but I'll read them again. Why is the flu so contagious? The flu is so contagious because blank. And then what is pneumonia and why does it kill some people? Pneumonia is blank and it kills some people because blank. And then finally, you can continue working on your Venn diagram to analyze the similarities and differences between the Spanish flu and COVID-19 outbreaks. Use evidence from the article and your journal to support your work. Okay, so now we're ready to complete day 27 activity. So step 1, go to your social studies Google Classroom to find this assignment. And I'm going to read it and complete it alongside you, so just work with me and we'll get it done together. So it's AMI Day 27 activity. Mine says teacher copy because I want to keep my copy separate from yours. Answer your daily assignment on this Google Doc. Use the daily AMI video attached to help you out if you need it. You will answer each day's journal entry for social studies and English on a Google form attached in your social studies Google Classroom. You will have to send a copy of your responses to your English teacher. Once you submit each day's journal entry here, it will email you a copy of your responses. You need to then forward that email to your English teacher to receive credit for both subjects. So, remember, if you need help sending your responses to your English teacher, there's a separate video on Google Classroom. It's about 2.5 minutes long. It can show you how to forward your responses to your teacher. Okay? So let's start with the first question, easiest question of all. Your first and last name. Remember, we have several students with the same name. So just to be safe, let's put our first and last name. And then down here, we have a description of the pandemic journal that you're completing. I read that in day 21. So if you want to hear that, you can go back to the day 21 video. What would you have done differently to prepare for social distancing had you known coronavirus was going to affect our society so drastically? So your answer might start out, had I known about social distancing ahead of time, I would have blank. So I'll just put that, my standard answer, so I can continue working. You are going to write the correct answer. And then Article 2, Chunk 8 is attached here or located at the end of your packet. Use the article chunk to answer the questions below. I'm not going to read this again because it's kind of small to see on my screen. So if you need to hear it again, just go back to the beginning of the video where I read this question. And then these two questions here are going to be these two questions here, so I will read these for you. After reading the chunk of the article, consider the following questions. Why is the flu so contagious? The flu is so contagious because, and then I'm just going to write my answer. And then after reading the chunk of the article, consider the following questions. What is pneumonia and why does it kill some people? Pneumonia is, and then define what pneumonia is, and then it kills some people because, and then tell me why it kills some people. Okay. And then down here, we've combined this was 2 questions on your previous Google Forms, but now it's just one. So you can talk about a similarity or a difference. You don't have to do both. You can do one or the other. You can, of course, still do both if you would like, but you're only required to do one or the other. So what is a new similarity or difference that you see in the Spanish flu and COVID-19 outbreak? Use evidence from the article chunk to support your answer. So the Spanish flu and the COVID-19 outbreak are different or similar because they blank. And then I'm just going to type my answer in here. And then I'm going to go back to the top. It's always a good idea to check your work and make sure everything's spelled correctly, every question's answered. So there's my name. I got an answer. Answer. So I'm going to go ahead and submit my answers. And then once you submit your answers, you have these instructions. Good job. Now send this form to your English teacher. You will get an email with your responses. Forward that email to your English teacher to submit to them. So if you need help, there's a separate video in your Google Classroom that can show you how to do that. As always, if you have any questions or you need help or you're not sure about how to do something, please reach out to either your English teacher or your social studies teacher, and we would be more than happy to help you.